If you have foresight and you get innovative, people who are doing what they love and are tackling challenges that they love are the ones that create innovative ideas that lead the pack. Every individual on this planet, regardless of their gender spectrum, their age, their cultural background, lives moment by moment with a unique set of values or priorities or things that are most to least important in their life. And that set of values, that hierarchy of values, is fingerprint specific. It's completely unique to that individual. And in that hierarchy, whatever's highest on the list, the thing that's most important, most valuable, most meaningful, most fulfilling, they're spontaneously inspired from within to act on it. They don't need extrinsic motivation, reward to do it, punishment if they don't do it. They just do it. It's like a young boy who loves video games. He just does it. In my case, my highest value is teaching. I just do it. I don't need motivation to do it. But as you go down the list of values, you progressively require greater degrees of extrinsic motivation to get you to do it. Just like getting the boy to do his chores or his homework or clean up his room. You got to give him a punishment if he doesn't do it, a reward if he does, sometimes to get him to act. If you're going through life with a brake on, procrastinating, hesitating, frustrating, and not being inspired where you're disciplined, reliable, and focused, you're not going to be, in a sense, excelling and living in the world of excellence and mastery. You're going to be down into what I call the quiet life of desperation. Motivation is a symptom, never a solution for human beings. Now, what's interesting is because you have a unique set of priorities, and those set of values or priorities determine how you perceive the world, how you decide in the world, and what you act in the world, and every decision you make is based on what you believe will give you the greatest advantage over disadvantage at any moment. The moment you set a goal or objective and take actions that are truly highest in priority, most important, your self-worth goes up. And you increase the probability of achievement. And the blood glucose and oxygen, measured by functional MRIs, move into the frontal area of the brain, the forebrain, and go into what is called a region called the medial prefrontal cortex and frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex. This is way forward in the very beginning of the most advanced part of the brain, where we are most masterful and integrated, the most authentic in our life. And the moment we get that area of the brain allows us to see inspired vision. Those with a vision flourish, those without a vision perish. It allows us to strategically plan and see in our mind's eye what we want with the vision and what are the possible obstacles and what to do in advance. A premeditative mitigation of any risk that's involved. It allows us also to activate the associative motor cortex for spontaneous action. So we just spontaneously act on the thing that's really inspiring to us, most meaningful to us, that we see in our clarity in our mind's eye. Our vitality in life is directly proportional to the vividness of that vision. Because when we're spontaneous, we don't have friction. We don't need extrinsic motivation. We just act. And that area of the brain, the executive center it's called, the prefrontal cortex, the gratitude center it's also called, because we have grace in that state, sends nerve fibers down into the subcortical area called the amygdala. And with glutamate, which is the major facilitative transmitter, GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, and N-acetyl aspartate, these three little transmitters, in addition to others, go down and calm down the amygdala's impulses and instincts that distract us from the focus of what's really meaningful in our life. So if we don't fill our day with high priority actions that inspire us, our day is automatically going to fill up with low priority distractions, impulses, and instincts of the amygdala that dispire us. I think everybody out there has had a moment in their life where they've actually had a day where they had some priorities, they got to them, they got them accomplished, they knocked it out of the ballpark, and they felt more self-worth, more expanded, more confident, more resilient, more adaptable. And they expanded and they thought, what else can I do? And other days where you were putting out fires and you never got around to doing what was priority, you didn't take command of your day and you let the world on the outside control you. And then at the end of the day, you're aggravated, you're irritable, you're impulsive, you want a quick fix, you want to escape, and you're irritable. That's the amygdala. Anytime you're not living by your highest values, you activate the amygdala. Anytime you're not fulfilling what's fulfillment, you go into the amygdala, and the amygdala is a center in the subcortical area of the brain that is avoiding predator and seeking prey. It wants food and it wants to not be eaten. It's a survival mentality. The executive center is where we thrive. As Maslow would call it, the self-actualization path. But down in the amygdala, we're in survival. And we're in a very strong, subjectively biased level of the brain where we distort things. All of our prejudices, all of our discriminations, all of our wars and conflicts are out of that area. And also our fantasies, our immediate gratifying fantasies, thinking that you can eat sugar without consequences, or overeat without having to pay consequences, or overshop without having to pay bills and have consequences. The impulsive and instinctual center is where we are surviving, just surviving. Maslow said very clearly that there's survival, there's security, there's self-esteem, and there's self-actualization. And the social is sort of in between those. And so you basically have the way of going up. When you live by your highest values, you move towards self-actualization. You become an executive. You're governing your life. If you're not governing it, other people are. Because when you're not living by the highest values and you're down in the amygdala, you're going to be governed by all the extrinsic distractions. Anything that supports your values, that represents prey, that makes you feel good and immediate gratifying, is going to distract you. You won't be able to control your eating. You won't be able to control your purchasing. You won't be able to control your distractions. You'll watch what's on TV. You'll go for an outer extrinsically run life. And I assure you, all the people around you, all the things on TV, all the people at the grocery store, all the people at the restaurants, they're out to sell so they win. They're selling what you want, but in the process of doing it, you're going to be run by the external world. Anytime you're highly infatuated with something that represents prey, it occupies space and time and mind and controls you. We've all been really infatuated with something and couldn't even sleep at night because of the infatuation. And anything that we resent that represents predator, where we're conscious of the downsides, unconscious of the upsides, and we're highly charged with an instinct to avoid it in the amygdala, we're going to be, again, having difficulty sleeping at night. So we have terrible sleep when we're distracted by that. So if we don't prioritize our life, we automatically add to our sleep problems. We add to our impulsive behaviors, compulsive behaviors. We actually become bipolar in some respects, polarized and having instability. In fact, it's the executive center in the forebrain that is awakened by living by priority that actually stabilizes the bipolar condition. The actual executive center with those three amino acids that I mentioned, glutamate, GABA, and N-acetyl-aspartate, those amino acids and others are, and the hormones that they secondarily impact, are governing the hypothalamus, governing the hippocampus, governing down into the amygdala. The amygdala and the autonomic system is being affected by it, and you're automatically under governance. The forebrain governs and keeps the spasticity of life under control. It governs it and controls it. And when you do, you're intrinsically run. That means you're letting the inner world run you. I said on the movie The Secret, when the voice and the vision on the inside is greater than all opinions on the outside, you begin to master your life. I guarantee as you go around the world and look at all the people you interact with, not one of them is dedicated to the fulfillment of what's deeply meaningful and most inspiring to you. They're thinking of what's fulfilling in their life. So if you let the world on the outside dictate what goes on in your life, you're almost guaranteed to be being part of the sheep. And you got to realize that the average person is not the Nobel Prize winner. The average person is not the great Olympic medalist. The average person is the one that's got the big business and doesn't have all the wealth. The things that people yearn to want is not going to happen from the outside. It's an inside job. That's why if we're not living by highest priority, we're not awakening up at our executive center, we're not discovering how to bring order into our life, we're going to have disorder. And disorder, by Claude Shannon, is missing information. Because when we're in the amygdala, we get a subjective bias. The purpose of the subjective bias is to cause acceleration and adrenaline to capture the prey that we're impulsively seeking and to avoid that predator that we're under fight or flight with, and we're in survival mode. So that's where we skew things. That's where we have false attribution biases. That's where we have in crowds and out crowds and divide things instead of integrate things and empower things. In any area of your life, your inspired spiritual quest, your intellectual, mental genius and innovation quest, your business quest, your relationship quest, your social leadership quest, the area where you want to make a difference and influence people, your physical health and vitality, all those areas of life, if you don't govern those and don't take command and control those areas, other people are going to. If you don't empower yourself intellectually, you'll be told what to think. I think there's plenty of that going on right now. Lord knows what the social media is telling us. If we don't empower ourselves in business, we'll be told what to do, working for other people, not an entrepreneur and taking command of your own destiny and making the most income and the greatest write-offs and the greatest profits. And if you don't empower yourself financially, you'll be told what you're worth, Social Security or some sort of a social structure, a pittance. If you don't empower yourself in relationship, you might be going around doing things that people in the family don't want to tell you what to do. And you're basically trying to not be rejected by people, fear of losing people. If you don't empower yourself in social, you'll be told what propaganda to believe. And I assure you, we're now aware easily of what goes on in the social world. The propaganda, we can see it right now, what's going on in the world today. It's very blatant. And the same thing physically. You don't empower yourself physically, you're going to end up having excess organs removed or drugs taken. And that's not the way you live your life to the fullest. And again, if you don't empower yourself spiritually, you'll probably be told some sort of dogmatic, maybe anthropomorphic deity construct that's basically thinking that, something in the afterlife is going to be okay because it ain't going to be here. All I can say is that in any area of your life you don't empower, people are going to overpower you. And when they overpower and you're in survival and you're in an unfulfilled, quiet life of desperation, that's the amygdala. That's the ungoverned center. That's where you're controlled from the outside. But if you then prioritize your life, that's why on my website I have the value determination process and why I spend so much time telling people about that. It's free, it's complimentary, it's something that's private. Take the time to go through there and start identifying what's really important to you and start to structure your life that way. I do a breakthrough experience, my signature program. That's exactly why I put that program together, to try to give people their power back. Because any area of your life you don't empower, you're giving it away, and other people are going to overrule you. So in that program, I'm designed to go and give you the tools, help you determine what those values are and very clearly help you structure your life, help you dissolve the impulses and instincts that are sitting there distracting from being present and empowered and living in your executive center and being an executive of your own life, governing it. Don't expect to live an inspired life if you're not governing your own behavior. If you don't fill your day with high priority actions that inspire you, it's going to fill up with low priority distractions. Don't. If you don't decide what challenges that inspire you want to solve, you're going to get challenges you don't want. That's why I wanted to talk about the inner governance versus the outer control, because the prefrontal cortex is designed for foresight, and the amygdala and the other centers beneath that are for hindsight. If we live by hindsight, we're going through trial and error, which is the lowest heuristic way of handling life. You're going to basically have to reinvent the wheel all the time and not make progress. You can't be at the cutting edge that way. But if you have foresight and you get innovative, people who are doing what they love and are tackling challenges that they love are the ones that create innovative ideas that lead the pack. They're the leaders. Anytime you're doing something that's high in your value, wake up your leader. Anytime you do something low in your value, you're waking up your follower. And when you follow somebody, you're living in the collective herd instead of getting out and being heard. So that's why I'm talking about how important it is to do that. And by the way, there's two systems of thinking that they show in psychology. Systems one thinking is an emotional reaction before thinking. And that's the amygdala, that's the survival center. Systems two thinking is when you think before you react. You tell me, what do you want? Do you want to emotionally react and then have all these emotions about it and have the world distract you and blame things on the outside and look for something on the outside to rescue, a magic bullet, a magic pill? Or do you want to realize that no matter what happens out there, you have the ability to transform it, integrate it, bring meaning out of it, think through it, act according to what inspires you, prioritize your life, expand your space and time horizons, and give yourself permission to do something more profound. And then you have a reason running your life instead of emotional baggage. And every time you actually live in the amygdala, you add to the subconscious mind, which weighs you down. It's like an animal brain. It's a survival brain. Avoid pain, seek pleasure. It divides you up. In fact, that's the area that bipolar conditions and schizophrenia and dissociative identity and the psychological conditions and many health issues are born out of. Or you can be in your executive center, where you have reason, we have foresight, where you're inspired, you have your intuition integrating things. Your intuition is trying to help you bring balance back into your awareness and perception so you can be mindful instead of mindless. It is also what I call the human brain. The cortex is the human brain instead of the animal brain. Restock and others back, McLean many times back in the 70s said that there was a self-actualizing brain, and there was a human brain, and there was a mammalian brain, and a reptilian brain, and a sub-reptilian brain. And there is sort of an evolution to the brain structures and the development of these species embryologically. So if we go through there and prioritize our life, we move all the blood and glucose up to the front of the brain. If we don't prioritize our life and we let other things around us run our lives all day long, we're going into the hindbrain. We're going into the amygdala and down below. And the amygdala is subcortical, and it's impacting all the survival centers, the medulla, the myelencephalon, metencephalon, mesencephalon. All those centers are down there for basic survival needs. And then the reflexes below. So if you want to be reflex oriented and just be responding to the environment around you, that's the amygdala. If you want to be reflective and be intelligent and be grateful for your life and see the hidden order in life instead of the chaos, it's prioritizing your life and living the executive function. That's one of the reasons I put the value determination process there, to help people do that. And that's exactly why I put the Breakthrough Experience program together. All my programs are designed to assist people in moving from their animal brain into their angelic brain, if you want to call it that. And then angel in etymology means a messenger of light. I want you to be a messenger. Those with a mission have a message. I want you to be a messenger, a missionary, a visionary of how you want your life, a prophet, a wise prophet of your own destiny, and live by design, not by duty. Live by clarity of where you want instead of cloudiness infiltrating it. Every time we meet somebody and we put them on a pedestal and inject some of their values and cloud the clarity of our own mission in life, we're extrinsically driven. Einstein said, if we're a cat trying to swim like a fish, we're going to beat ourselves up. Or a fish trying to climb a tree like a cat, we're going to beat ourselves up. When anytime we're letting the external world determine what we're going to do, we're automatically. Now, that doesn't mean we don't meet the needs of the external world, but not subordinate to that and sacrifice. There's a difference between serving people and sacrificing to people. I'm not interested in you sacrificing for anybody, but I am interested in you serving. And the service comes out of the executive center. That's where you have the most objectivity. That's where you have the most fair exchange and sustainability. That's where you're most inspired, enthused, grateful. In the Breakthrough Experience, I talk about the transcendental state of mind. The transcendental mind is when you're doing something you love to do. You're inspired by the vision of it. You're enthusiastically working. You're grateful for the opportunity to do it. You're certain about the knowledge, because when you're living your executive center and you're living by priority, that's when you maximize your mental capacities. And you're actually present while you do it, because you're not distracted by the impulses and instincts. You're actually present at the time doing what you really love to do. If you're not doing what you love and loving what you do on a daily basis and learning the art of delegating lower priority things and linking things temporarily until you can delegate them to what's valuable to you, you're not going to maximize your potential, and you're going to feel frustrated, weigh yourself down, hold yourself back. I believe that deep inside, you have a desire to break free of anything that's stopping you from what you have and you envision in your dreams in life. I'm all for that. I think that that's the sign of the executive center, the envisionment. And you have an individual vision, whatever that may be, whatever it is that inspires you. It may be amazing, doing something and raising a beautiful family. Rose Kennedy said her mission statement was raising a family of world leaders. It may be building a great business. It may be going and building fortunes and wealth. It may be doing something that's a social cause. maybe doing something that's fitness or yoga or beauty or who knows what, anything to do with your beautiful body. Or it may be something that's inspiring in some spiritual quest. I don't know what that is. I just want you to be able to know that you have the power, whatever that is that you envision, to live that and go past the obstacles, go on to the next level, make progress in your goals by living by priority and by waking up the executive functions, taking command of your life, and actually not letting the subcortical or the substandard or the subconscious mind run you, which stores all of your impulses and instincts that distract you, and get on to superconscious awareness, mindfulness, spiritual awareness, if you want to call it, where you're inspired by your dream and focusing on priority and delegating lower priority things. Every time you delegate lower priority things, you give job opportunities to others, and you get to free yourself up and do the things that are most meaningful to you. You get more meaning out of life. Even Aristotle talked about how important it was to live by the highest priority. He called it the telos, the end in mind, because that's where you end up with the most meaning, most purpose, most fulfillment, most inspiration, most empowerment, and the most achievement. So I just want to take some time to go through, because if you're wanting to go and empower your life, that is one of the keys, waking up the executive center. The average person is living by their amygdala. They're basically letting the world around them. They're run by TVs, they're run by social media, they're run by politicians, they're run by religions, they're run by their social friends, they're run by their parents. As the psychologist Bowen said, most people don't even get past their parents' influence. They aren't transcending it. If you look very carefully, a gentleman Kohlberg said that there's levels of moral development. The bottom level of moral development is avoid pain, seek pleasure, avoid punishment, seek reward. That's basically extrinsically driven. And then subordinating to individual authorities, mothers, fathers, preachers, teachers, then subordinating to the collective authorities, mores, traditions, and conventions. He said, but the self-actualized individual is the one that is not following the herd, but is going out and getting heard with a mission and a message, and actually creating a transcendent pathway, blazing a new trail, being an on-borrowed visionary. That's the executive center. That's the governance center. That's where you're the master of life, master of your destiny, not victim of your history. That's what I want you to do. I want you to know that that's available to you. And doing the value determination process on my website will help start that engine running. But coming to the breakthrough experience. The breakthrough experience, when I give you the tools, the methods, the principles to help you move in that direction, to break through the things that you right now may be perceiving in the way, I show you how to turn them on the way. Because it's all about perception. If you can't see the order in your life and it's chaotic and you're missing information, and I can show you how to see the order in it so you're freed from the distractions and now prioritize, that can give you a tremendous amount of incremental momentum building achievement energy. And I believe you deserve to have the energy to accomplish the things that you want to do. So I'm going to summarize here. The executive center is the one that's an inspiring center, a gratitude center, achieving center. It's the one that sets you apart from the average and the masses, the animal survival mentality. It's the one that gives you the angelic thing, the missionary, the visionary, the inspired, enlightened person. What they called the Buddha's enlightenment, what they called moksha and satori and all the things in the mystical path. That's the activation of that center. If not, you're going to fill your day with low priority things that are going to distract you. At the end of the day, you're going to have Bronnie Rare's regrets at the end of your life, even, because you don't feel fulfilled if you didn't get to what was most meaningful to you in your life. You're the one that decides what's most meaningful. You're the one that decides the design. You're the one that takes governance over your life. Nobody's going to get up in the morning and dedicate your life to your fulfillment. And if it isn't you, don't expect it. I just want to take some time to talk about that, because I want you to really go and do the value determination on my website. It's free, it's complimentary, it's private. And I want you to come to the breakthrough experience. And also, the one other thing I want to share tonight, there's something here that's a free on-demand masterclass called Balancing Your Emotions for Greater Achievement. I'm going to introduce to you exactly what those emotions do in the amygdala and exactly how to balance them and to put you back in the executive center. And I'm absolutely certain that if you go through and listen to that, you're going to end up having more inspiration, more action steps. And I know that if you do that, you do the value determination, you join me at the breakthrough experience, I know I can start you on a new trajectory of your life. So just wanted to give you some heads up on how important it is to take command of your life and be the governor of your own destiny and not let the outer world dictate your destiny. You want the voice and the vision on the inside to be louder than all the opinions on the outside. You want to function from the forebrain, not the hindbrain. You want to thrive, not survive. You want to sit there and have the mastery of the forebrain running your life with foresight instead of hindsight. This is Dr. Demartini. I'll see you next week. Please take advantage of what I've just offered you, and I'll see you next week at our next little class.